Hello, welcome to Democracy Today on AIT, your daily dose of the latest developments in the polity and in-depth analysis. I am Musaitin Yari, in for your regular host, Ijoma Osamo. Let's open tonight with trending political stories we have been tracking for you this Friday. Delta State Governor Senator Ifeanyi Okowa says Nigeria's National Assembly is not sensitive to the plight of the oil-producing communities, adding that a situation where the funds meant for host communities is set at 3% is not acceptable to the Niger Delta.
If for any reason there's going to be a drop, it's insensitive to have dropped it to 3%. And we hope that at the conference in the National Assembly of the House and the Senate, that justice will be done. I do believe that whether there is a forensic audit or not, that in itself did not stop the constitution of a board, because the forensic audit was not going to be about those who are actually sworn in as members of the board. It was supposed to be about the past up to the moment that the auditors were supposed to work.
The Kwara State Elders Caucus of the All Progressives Congress have called for the immediate suspension of the Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, and his removal as minister over alleged attempts to create factions in the party. However, another faction of the APC loyal to the minister threatened to invoke Section 21 of the party's constitution on the state governor, Abdulrahman Abdulrazak, for alleged anti-party activities. The group, at a press conference addressed by the factional legal advisor of the party loyal to the minister, Mr. Oladimeji Mustafa, said that the Elders Caucus lacks the power to call for the suspension of the minister as the party constitution does not recognize them. The ECOWAS court has awarded the sum of 30 billion naira against the Buhari administration for ill-treating and torturing a journalist, Agba Jalingo, in Cross River State. In the judgment delivered on Friday following a suit brought by Serap on Jalingo's behalf, the court said the inhuman treatment meted out on Jalingo when he was arrested and chained to a freezer for about 34 days without being charged to court is against international human rights treaties, also flouting the provisions of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, to which Nigeria is a state party. The court therefore awarded 30 million naira compensation for Jalingo for violations of his human rights following the suit filed by Serap against the government of Nigeria and Cross River State Governor Ben Ayade. Jalingo, who is the publisher of Cross River Watch, was arrested on August 22nd over a report alleging that Ayade diverted the sum of 500 million naira belonging to the state. Before our conversation tonight, let's make a quick stop in Imo State. Pandemonium broke out at the State House of Assembly on Thursday as 6 members were suspended over what was called unparliamentary conducts. 4 lawmakers of the All Progressives Congress APC and 2 members of the Opposition People's Democratic Party PDP were affected. Among those suspended by the House are former leader of the House and member representing Ikeduru State Constituency, Uche Ubuagu, member representing Obowo State Constituency, and also the member representing Indiato North, Otto Engwim, the chief whip of the House. The Speaker declined to speak with AIT on the controversy, but let's share with you some of the reactions we have.
Prior to this time, we have a WhatsApp group where people, there was agitation of that up to this moment, since the man took over as Speaker, he has not arranged for us to meet the governor. So this is, people are boiling that during all these unknown gunmen, all this, that we've not been able to see our Speaker. I mean, the governor to sympathize with him, and as a chief, we have not been able to see the governor, whom is a very good man. We've not been able to see him, and all our action to see the governor is report, because he said none of us should go to government house. And not only that, we were telling him that some of our statutory rights, like constituency project, this is second year, nobody has given us anything. then our land, and some of us are on rented house, which is going to normally statutorily clean rank for we're supposed to have paid our rent, and the governor has said, let us see our governor.
It's unexpected. I didn't see it coming. Even though I had warned about this suspension. I have experienced dissatisfaction 6 months ago. 6 months ago, yes. Sometime in January, when the house rules was amended, I kicked against it. I addressed the press. I, in fact, was just the lone voice in the wilderness.
As the agitation for the breakup of Nigeria continues to reverberate, some youths who feel differently took to the streets of Makurdi, the Benue state capital, to campaign for unity with placards encouraging peace. The youth say the campaign will continue in other parts of the country, insisting that our diversity and numerical strength remains our greatest advantage.
Look at what is happening in Libya. Look at what is happening in other countries that are waiting to war. They will never recover from that. Nigeria is too big. This is our unity and this is our country and remember our strength. Let us promote all those things that will unite us. Let us not be divided along religious lines, ethnic lines, and even in times of class. We are all brought together by God to live as one. It doesn't matter whether you are King, whether you are House of Fulani, whether you are Idoma, whether you are Igbo, whether you are Yoruba. We are all members of one country called Nigeria.
6 students and 2 staff of the Nuhu Bamali Polytechnic have regained freedom weeks after their abduction. The students and staff of the institution were abducted from the school on Thursday, 11th of June 2021 and were taken to an undisclosed location. According to the public relations officer of the institution, Abdullahi Shehu, the victims were released after a series of negotiations between the parents of the abductees and the abductors. However, he could not confirm whether ransom was paid or not. And this leads us to our focus on democracy today tonight. That is the warning by the United Kingdom that the 2023 presidential elections in Nigeria may not hold due to the rising cases of conflicts across the country and the growing calls for breakup and secession. We'll have a guest on the program tonight to look into the issues thrown up, but that'll be after this time out.
When the issues are critical, germane to Nigeria's democratic process,
politicians can only be seen maybe on television by judges. They should not intermingle, because once you intermingle, then you destroy the system.
When the personalities are big, important to national discourse.
When you reach certain stage of power and you demonstrate arrogance to the extreme, there's no other thing that will happen to you around to fall.
When the developments are seemingly complex, confounding like a 1,000-piece jigsaw, that's when we require bold, sound, and analytical minds to help put the pieces together. Jigsaw with Benga Arileba, now show Tuesdays and Thursdays at 1 p.m. on AIT. Jigsaw, demystifying the issues. The Nigeria of our dream, the Nigeria we need, is the united, indissoluble, and cohesive Nigeria which guarantees equity, fairness, justice, and prosperity for its citizens. That is our focus on people, politics, and power. It is fresh, insightful, impactful. It's a must-watch. People, politics, and power on AIT.
Thank you for remaining with us on Democracy Today. The conversation tonight is centered on restoring peace and security to our nation, Nigeria. According to the Director of the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office in the United Kingdom, Chris Beecroft, Nigeria is at a critical juncture in its journey of nationhood, and it is time now for new thinking and action to build build a more peaceful future for all Nigerians. Beecroft, who was speaking at the launch of the Nigerian Governors Forum Peace and Inclusive Security Initiative, said the rise in conflicts risk destabilizing Nigeria's democracy in the run-up to the 2023 elections. Governor of Ekiti State and chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum, Kayode Fayemi, speaking at the launch, revealed out chilling statistics of the death of 76,000 people as a result of insecurity in the last 10 years. Governor Fayemi said the spate of violence and coordinated criminal activities have undermined government authority, which results in loss of public confidence. The Ekiti governor blamed the current security crisis in the country on several factors, including an oversized population, poverty, desertification, and the proliferation of small arms and light weapons. On its part, the Nigerian government says it will continue to exercise all elements of its national power in ensuring security, national unity, and sustainable development. President Muhammad Buhari, who was represented by the Minister of Defense, Major General Bashir Magashi, said this at the graduation ceremony of Senior Course 43 of the Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Jaji. Buhari said most security challenges facing the world today are asymmetric and transborder in nature. He commended the armed forces for working tirelessly to combat the threats through training as well as synergy with other institutions and nations.
Producers for collaboration of the armed forces of Nigeria, the Cameroon, the Nigerian Republic, and Chad in a multinational operation to combat Boko Haram insurgency in the Lake Chad region. The synergy achieved in operating together was no doubt being enhanced by understanding of the doctrines of operating forces. This occasion provides me another opportunity to briefly reflect on the state of the Nigerian nation, particularly regarding the national security. The last 12 months or the last 12 years have been particularly challenging for our nation, considering the plethora of security threats that have besieged this country. Our government is poised to promote national security and development, as well as remain committed to the promoting a vision of security, safety, just, peaceful, prosperous, and strong nation. Indeed, we should be employing all elements of our national power in ensuring security, a just society, peaceful coexistence, national unity, and sustainable development, while promoting a good standing abroad.
All right, time now for our conversation. Let me bring to you our guest and introduce Mr. Francis Meribe. He's a former intelligence officer, a retired chief security intelligence officer at the DSS, and also a security management consultant. Thank you, Mr. Meribe, for joining us. Oh, I understand Mr. Meribe is not there just yet. We'll take another very short break and we'll be back to join this conversation immediately. Don't go anywhere.
And so policing in Kaduna State has never been a joke. It has always been a challenge. It has always been daunting, and it requires dedication from the police officers. It requires professionalism from the police officers. It requires your respect for human relations and human rights, and also your commitment to do the right thing.
It is through lack of manpower is a challenge. We are making effort to overcome it, but challenges are always there. We are surmountable. We will use what we have to the best of our knowledge and ability to do better. But very soon we will overcome the issues regarding the challenges of having the increase in manpower.
In these youths, we know their problems, and we have been talking every time. You sit in beautiful offices and you all think all will be well. Let us be very truthful in this country. Look at this beautiful building. As beautiful as this building is, if the foundation is wrong, the entire building will collapse because the foundation has a problem. In this gathering, the Senate President mentioned the key factor, the collapse of local government. It has collapsed. Let's be very truthful to ourselves. It has completely collapsed because that's the only arm of government that is, number one, the foundation of this country. You don't have any other foundation. We are only building on a castle that has been completely broken down. It is very idiotic for us to be doing the same thing over and over and over again and expect a different result. We will continue to get the same result. Let's be very truthful and honest ourselves in this country. We all know the problems. How well are we carrying along these people in that age bracket who are representing that age bracket in this hall? The answer is no. We are not engaging them at all. As traditional rulers, they are the most active in our system. Let us tell ourselves the truth. They are hungry and they are angry. I repeat, they are hungry and they are very angry.
Are critical, germane to Nigeria's democratic process.
Politicians can only be seen maybe on television by judges. They should not intermingle, because once you intermingle, then you destroy the systems.
When the personalities are big, important to national discourse.
When you reach certain stage of power and you demonstrate arrogance to the extreme, there's no other thing that will happen to you around to fall.
When the developments are seemingly complex, confounding like a 1,000-piece jigsaw, that's when we require bold, sound, and analytical minds to help put the pieces together. Jigsaw with Benga Arileba, now showing Tuesdays and Thursdays at 1 p.m. on AIT. Jigsaw, demystifying the issues. The Nigeria of our dream, the Nigeria we need, is the united, indissoluble, and cohesive Nigeria which guarantees equity, fairness, justice, and prosperity for its citizens. That is our focus on people, politics, and power. It is fresh, insightful, impactful. It's a must-watch. People, politics, and power on AIT. The Nigeria of our dream, the Nigeria we need, is the united, indissoluble, and cohesive Nigeria which guarantees equity, fairness, justice, and prosperity for its citizens. That is our focus on people, politics, and power. It is fresh, insightful, impactful. It's a must-watch. People, politics, and power on AIT.
water, to move this program along, because the networks seem to have conspired against me tonight. But we'll see what we can make of the time we have left. I can now introduce to you, joining us via telephone anyway, Francis Meribe is the former intelligence officer, and a security management consultant. Like we told you, we'll be talking security and some of the news making the rounds that says that Nigeria's 2023 general elections may be threatened if the security situation in the country is not immediately resolved. So let's just welcome Mr. Meribe to the conversation. Hello, sir. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us. All right, let's begin this way. Sometime pre-2015, a lot of news made the rounds as well at that time. Many individuals had cited former U.S. Ambassador John Campbell in a report that some form of statements he made that said that Nigeria will collapse, in terms of will disintegrate following the 2015 elections, and also some other people as well also cited the CIA as well. But when we checked through the archives and through available records, we couldn't find any documents, actual documents to say that, to authenticate these positions that was credited to these various individuals. But it would seem that if all of that was cool, nothing happened in 2015, we still have our nation. Thankfully, it would seem that all the voices seems to be speaking in some form of unison this time ahead of 2023 elections that are still almost about 2 years away, if you say, less than 2 years anyway, but still some time away. And what is your own assessment of the security situation now? Is this something that we should be worried about? Should we worry about our 2023 elections at this time?
Yes, what is happening in the country today, security-wise, is something that is crying in the presence and in the ear and mind and heart of everyone and in our face. The kidnapping by herdsmen and other sundry criminals all over the country have become unbearable. Nobody sleeps easy in this country as we speak right now. The whole of what we call the Nigerian security architecture is under comatose. The governor of Taraba State wanted that sometime last year, that the security architecture of Nigeria has been totally overwhelmed by the insecurity in the country, and I agree totally with him. Now, about the collapse of Nigeria and whether we should worry about that because of what we are seeing, that is what I would say. We all should be worried because the situation at present is unprecedented. We have had issues in this country. We have had a civil war. Even as many of us who are here today were quite young during the civil war and didn't know exactly how it all got about. But the kind of situation we face right now in Nigeria is no different from a civil war. People, Nigerians, are killed left, right, and center by both criminals and Nigeria's own security forces. So it's nothing far away from a civil war. But here is the issue concerning when we talk about those who are suggesting collapse, according to the report that were made against by the credited to the U.S. in 2015 and then the one that are going on right now, is that this country is not a normal country like you get other countries where things actually follow an order. According to some economics that I am around with those I know, in the analysis they say Nigeria's situation does not fit any particular economic, political, or even social theory. So given that, the entity, Nigeria, might as well survive what is going on right now, but it will be, this kind of survival that we will see will be, that time they say there's silence everywhere, and when you look around, you discover that is the graveyard silence. That's the kind of silence that you have. So, issues with Nigeria has so much more to do with governance. Each space called Nigeria is not properly governed. And even though things have been worse with the Buhari administration, it is not a Buhari administration something. Nobody who has come and tried the leadership position in this country has ever attempted to build Nigerians. The only thing they have tried to do is to force Nigerians. Or how I describe this country is a gunpoint administration. They only point guns at the people to make them afraid, to keep them in order. But you know, we are losing the effect of the gun on the people is going away. Because the people we have today, the young people we have today, have a better mind than most of us who are old, who were born in the past. You know, these young people know that there's so much that is in this country. This country is richly blessed. They do not see why it should be misgoverned as it is done at the present. Because of that, it is a big dynamic, a dynamism that I do not think even our security forces can stop. Be that as it may, the challenge is very serious. I think the National Assembly recently described Nigeria as having a new synonym, which is insecurity. So, in the face of all of that, we have very serious and obvious challenges that nobody can sweep over. Whether because we want to have an election or anything, we really cannot sweep over them and sleep easy. That's what I'd like to get at this point.
All right, Mr. Abebe, let's take a point of what you raised and you spoke about when you were speaking now. You said that the challenges at the root are governance issues. And so can we unearth some of these governance issues so that probably we can begin to address them?
Okay, thank you. Here are the issues that I have over my many years of living in this country and watching those who have come to power in my presence, from the military rules to the Second Republic and to this point. None of these people who have taken power or asked for power with a view for service. We have people that I call garulas, you know, people who come to power for personal gain. There's none of them, in fact, what they are doing is grabbing power. They are not coming to power. Nobody is inviting them to power. They have not been asked by any of their people to please go represent us. They force their way because of the trappings of power. And because of that, you get a couple of people, a bundle of people inside the National Assembly. What do they legislate? How to spend money on themselves. It's not just about talking about the, maybe they say respect the dead, don't talking about the dead, but Dr. Chubo Kadebe is a man that I had a lot of respect for. You know, it's an academy, somebody in the academia, very well educated. But when he was Senate President, he was credited as saying that they have not come to Abuja to legislate poverty in a response to when he was told that the paycheck of the assembly members are too much. That's one. Then when it comes to the executive, which is actually supposed to provide leadership, we have not had an executive in this country who have made a decision to provide leadership at any time. And any one of them can come and confront me and we talk about that. And I can prove to them with facts that are on the ground that none of them have ever risen to power with a view to serve. And everything they did at the end of the day showed that they were just there for themselves. It's either they are there for themselves or a gang of what they call cabals will bring them up and then teleguide them, tell them what to do all through the period. And during this period, these buyers and sellers, called the cabals and the so-called political leaders, as they call themselves, they end up making leaders simply do their bidding, and none of their bidding is in the interest of the country. Now, when I was young,
Mr. Amebe, if I may come in here, because a lot of the politicians who will be listening to you now will disagree, because they will say, look, we came and we chose to serve our people, and we are doing that to the best of our capacity at this time. But let's come back to, especially on the issue of elections, and looking at the scenario we have today. Now, will the situation we see where, in fact, just today, bandits, or let's say last night, bandits had kidnapped more people, and this is is becoming decimal, and will this give confidence to voters to come out on election day? Because prior to this time, we used to have very militarized elections with guns and all of those happening, but over the years, it seemed that all began to cool down. Are we going to see, do you think from your reading of it as a former intelligence officer, that we are going to see a spike in future elections?
That's exactly what I see. I read that report credited to Mr. Scott, Scott, the British official, High Commission official who spoke at the place. Now, the issues we have in this country today are not the things that can be solved by the muzzle of the gun. They cannot. So, from the kind of people who are even showing up for the elections, what is the difference in the promise they are going to make to the people? And the people are not interested in promises again. The promises have been so unfulfilled for several years that what are people? Our people have decided to sell themselves for 500 naira, for 1,000 naira. I mean, the insult on our psychology is unbelievable. And the reason why people will go to that point is because all the promises made by people were not fulfilled. Now, given all of this, I expect that people will be more interested in saving their heads this time, because I think it was the Abdul Salami Foundation or himself who said that there are over, did he say 600 million or 6 million guns?
Yeah, proliferation of arms, yeah.
Yes, outside the government forces. I mean, that is enough to create problems for any people. And then our military and police also do not know where to direct their gun. They always direct their gun on the people. So I expect that even if the election holds, there are going to be terrible low turnout, because even then the politicians won't come out to vote unless they are particularly interested and they want to show up on TV that they voted. And of course, they are going to come with a retinue of military and policemen guarding them for their one vote. How about the other big guys who will benefit from the political offices when they get there? They will not come out. Their children will not come out. And I'm telling you that many young people too will ready to come out for elections. Probably the elections will hold, but I assure you that people are going to be worried about their safety and will be afraid to come out under the kind of circumstances that we have.
All right, so Mr. Maybe let's begin to look at in terms of steps, urgent steps, because even Governor Kayode Fayemi wrote out some statistics as well, but I don't want to go into statistics because there are a number of them if we were to put that out there, and it's all available in the public space. Because for me, one life is too much. Just one life is too much. And so the question will be, how can we retool the nation at this point in time? What are the urgent steps that must be taken? Let's begin to talk some solutions as we wrap up.
Thank you very much. Very good enough. There are still a good space of 12 months plus almost 5 months. That is 2021 and 2022 before that election holds. Within this space of time, if the people who are sitting astride the governance of this country, the government of this country, want to change things for good, they should go and hold a national conference before that election. The issue of restructuring, many interest groups are fighting towards that, and they are meeting resistance everywhere, here and there. The National Assembly, they are making their own attempts, and nobody is seeing them going forward with what they ought to be doing. Now, what that means is that if we really want to get anything done, then this current structure of Nigeria cannot carry the country anymore. So, for me, whether we need it in the immediate urgency or we need it as a long-time project, the only help, the only hope that the country has for normality to return is restructuring immediately. And if we cannot do that through any simple means that is acceptable to people, let's go for national conference. The former national conferences should be left, because those national conferences had what they call no-go areas. And I'm talking about a no-hold barred national national conference.
You know, but that's the point, Mr. Ameribe. That's the point, Mr. Ameribe, because a lot of people disagree exactly on what restructuring entails. A lot of people pick holes and choose sides, and you have mentioned some of the issues that cropped up in previous ones. So how will we make progress this time with a national dialogue?
The best thing is that about life is if you do not begin, then you go nowhere. Let us begin. Let it be that the steps have to be corrected along the way, but the will to begin needs to be there among our people and those who call themselves our leaders now. If they say they love this country, they should come for national conference. They should come for it. They shouldn't be afraid. Nobody is going to hunt them down. And who tells them that they should stay in power forever? In a country we say we are more than 200 million people. How can you run it like this? We can't run this country like this and have hope. So the issue of national conference should be something that somebody should, in fact, the leadership of the country right now should take the glory, because it's a big glory if they can initiate it. If they can come out and say, okay, things are, we see how things are, we have listened to you, Nigerians, you know what you feel, we understand, let us not talk. If they initiate it, they will be in a comfort zone. And I'm sure if the point is that they are afraid that if there's a national conference, they will be out. Of course, can you rule forever? Nobody can rule forever. So they should be able to think in terms of the interest of, if we want to say we want this nation, this country to become a nation, it's not a nation. If we want it to become a nation, then we need to start talking right now. And the Buhari administration has that singular privilege that nobody had to do that between now and 2023. And, you know, if they do that, it will even hand them over the country. They will take the country if they should do it.
All right, so restructuring is one solution you have proposed. Now, can we look towards others? You are a former intelligence officer, and so I take you up on that, because that's the role of intelligence in preempting a lot of the challenges that we continue to experience. Because in previous conversations that we have had, we have established pretty clearly that it's not a matter of if, it's generally just a matter of when.
Yes, exactly. Here is what is going on. When I was quite young in the intelligence service, one of the things we treasured so much to use effectively to guide the government of those days was what we call the public opinion. Now, in those days, you will stress yourself before you get public opinion. Today, you don't need to stress yourself, because all of them are available in all the social media handles. You can monitor and figure out and mirror the feelings of all Nigerians in one single day of research online. You can do that. So let them know that the feelings they are getting, those feelers they are getting from the people cannot be continuously fueled by the gun. So the intelligence forces should be able to tell government that the era of the gun is gone. That time has passed. I tell you, a few people will be killed by government security forces, but before long, it happened in Central African Republic. You know, the community, the youth, they simply laid siege on the army barracks, the presidential palace army barracks, and they laid siege there. They killed a number of the young people, and before long, young people were cutting the soldier by hand and tearing off their heads. We don't want that kind of a thing to happen here. And you know, if the intelligence forces do not up their game and tell these people the truth, repeat that truth if they are not listening, then they should do it. And I tell you, I didn't say this the last time. Sometimes the action agents of Nigeria don't act on intelligence. Personally, I had 3 different cases where I predicted, in a month, say, this is going to happen. This is what we have. What did the people who are supposed to use it said? NSO then, they are organizing. And they left it at that. And when this thing broke out, and there was a controller general of prison, he came to me, a state controller of prison. He came to me and said, I heard you at the SSS boss here. What was that thing that you said? I said, well, I told your man. I reported to my boss and I informed their area zonal controller. If people didn't act on it, that is not my piece of meat. So the intelligence police should make sure they finish doing their job and forcefully present the information of the feelings of the people of this country, and help these politicians know that the gun is becoming ordinary powder. This is the truth.
All right. So, following up with that, to you, I'd like to ask you, in terms of restoring security very much across our nation, and I believe that our security agencies will require a lot of concerted efforts and collaboration and all of that. But let's find out quickly, what's the role of, deploying technology, deploying advances and modern technology in the fight against some of these challenges all across our nation? Because take for example where we have the continued kidnap of kids and children in schools, and the need for maybe satellite monitoring, drones and all of this. Is this what we should be investing in? And recall that we expect some jets that we have still not seen yet, although there's some unofficial report that they will be arriving because this is the month it was planned for. But all of these requirements that are necessary, what do we do immediately?
My dear brother, what I feel that the leaders of this country should do immediately is to, technology is good, the drones are available and cheap, they should be able to begin to use that to find out locations of all the bandits, Fulani herdsmen bandits all over the forests of the north, and especially in Kaduna. And the nonsense that what this thought they are giving to the government needs to be stopped. But that is the highest I want to go for that one. But if you want to really deal with the security issues of this country, governance must be different. The current governance we have either support or doesn't understand that only when you govern the people well that security issues will stop. Security issues will not stop because you have guns. How many guns and how much budget have we spent for defense and security in this country? And then there's another mistake that this country has made over time, which they need to stop, which is having the military in internal security. The reason the police is not becoming robust and powerful enough, the reason the intelligence forces are not in full control, is because we have military pursuing ordinary criminals. What happens to our borders? We should be recruiting more policemen, recruiting more intelligence officers than we are recruiting soldiers. But just go check. We recruit more soldiers, Air Force, Navy, and other people who have no relevance in controlling what is happening in the country right now. And then we send them into the field, and what do? They look at Nigerians as enemies. And so long as Nigerians remain enemies in the psychology of our military forces, Nigerians will continue to see authority as enemy. So first, begin a phased removal of military from internal security, and then give all the power that is by physical numbers and infrastructure and equipment and orientation to police and pay. The current police we have is even almost useless. Their own confuses me, because you will see a man, an old man, and you will set him to show good judgment on an issue on the ground, and he will start talking for bribe and other nonsense, when there's so much that he can do to even get goodwill that is better than what he's asking for. So what we need to do, the technology is fine, let's deploy them to fish out the bandits, because this is a very different kind of case, their own. Then for other internal security issues, that one needs to be only intelligence delivery driven, and police are the best response forces, not the military. The military is creating problems for governance as we speak.
All right, so apparently our final question for tonight is, because something you have harped on that has kept talking to me is the fact that you have mentioned repeatedly that Nigerians are losing confidence or have lost confidence, in governments successively, to deal with some of these challenges because of not delivering on governance. But you have also mentioned on the need to do all of that, but then where's the place of, because we find ourselves in an increasingly marginalized nation, not marginalized rather, but divisive, where it seems that a lot of people are taking quite opposing views and very sharp divisions amongst ourselves as brothers and sisters. So where's the place of reconciliation and a lot of mediation, arbitration, and access to justice for those who feel wronged?
Okay, my dear brother, the best way for us to deal with what is going on in the country is to go back to basics. The basics is, if you put in place good governance, a governance that is there to provide service to the people, justice, because I'm a poor man, because I don't have any money, I cannot get justice, that kind should leave. It should stop. Everybody who comes to justice, no matter who they are, should face that justice equally. So good governance and rule of law, that's what changes society. That's what drives loyalty. That, like you hinted, and I said it before, you hinted it again, yes, the people of this country, if we have 211 million, that's the last statistics I saw, people in this country, I want to tell you that 210 million of these people do not have trust with governance. Not just this man, it's worse with this, but since time, because these governments have not done anything for the people. So if we want to talk about building a nation which is getting people to become one in this country, let's know that that's a Herculean task, because the situation has been, nepotism by government people has divided this into pieces. I don't know if this is true, but I read something online. You don't always thought it. I'm going to.
Yeah, since we can't verify.
That we have General Obasanjo was to say that President Obasanjo was said to have mentioned that the current president has divided the country more than any other person in life. So, but it's not just about this man. It's only worse with Buhari administration. But all our administrations have always done things that do not put Nigerians together. That we see governance place to share. And if I get there, I want to put the share in the hand of only my own people, and I will deny all the others. And then you say you want to build a nation. They do not force unity with the gun. You cannot get unity with gun. If you like, kill everybody in a particular place, one grass will grow there before you know it. One body, somebody will start living in that ground. If he ever drinks water from that spot, the fact that the people of that place were annihilated will be in his spirit, and his spirit will start rebelling against what is the order of the day. So if you want to build unity, you need to devolve this country totally. We call it, it's a federal government by name and on paper, but it is a unitary government by action. You cannot do unitary government in a country that has many federating units, many ethnic nationalities. We can't run away from the ethnicities, and those ethnic situations are nations. Nigeria itself is going to try to be a nation if it could, but this ethnic nationality is already nations. So welding them together is a Herculean task, and I do not see the capacity in the people we have in government today. All right, I will leave it at that. Thank you, Mr. Ameribi, for sharing your thoughts and viewpoints on some of the very burning issues. Thank you for your time tonight, sir. You're welcome. Thank you. Yeah. All right, and that's where we draw the curtain on Democracy Today tonight. Thank you for being part of it. We'll return again on Sunday at 10 p.m. Do make a date with us. I am Osai Tinyari, the News Hour.